Live. Well, welcome everybody. It does take a couple of, there's a little bit of a delay with the live for people joining. But my name is Tiffany Hill-Cook, and I run a spiritual practice called the Healing Hill. And a few months ago, I started going live a couple times a week, but Thursdays specifically, I channel spirit. And what channeling is essentially we have chakras, energy centers, and I'm able to connect with information that I guess with the traditional five senses we would not normally get. I'm really excited today because I love what is called a cold reading, meaning that I've never met with the person that I'm sitting with before. And that is the case for today. I've never met Geoffrey. We quite literally just connected about 30 seconds ago, which I think is really cool. I'm already getting some information coming through from your spirit team. But I would like you to just, I guess, introduce yourself. How did you find me? I think that's really cool as well. And just thank you for sharing your energy today.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Geoffrey, and I am in Indiana. And how did I find Tiffany Hill-Cook? I don't quite remember, but I know it has to have something to do with Michael Sheridan or possibly Ann Tucker.
Yes. Okay, so you know both of them as well?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yes.
Yeah, I started doing my dreams a couple years ago. I bought his book. I've been to a number of his cheaper courses.
Yeah.
And I really, my dreams told me I was a dream interpreter.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, wow.
and it's helped me tremendously. It's been, out of all, I've been a searcher for a long time. And out of all the things, Michael's information is gold.
Isn't it though? Just the level, it's literally, it's almost like, it's just so truthful. Like the message is so spot on that even if you were to just ask to describe it to somebody, it couldn't be as authentic and, I don't know, truthful as your dreams are. Have your, it's interesting you bring up, so when I was having an awakening in 2020, and specifically, I was struggling to sleep. I was riddled with such high anxiety that I just struggled to sleep. And I remember waking up one evening and I just could barely breathe because my heart chakra was so blocked. And the first words that came out of my mouth were, I'm going to heal myself and others through dreams, which was really interesting. And then that led me to Michael. And I literally watched his podcast, which was through YouTube, like for hours a day. For months, I watched it. And it brought me a lot of grounding and purpose as well. Because I don't know if you've experienced this where, especially with spirituality, sometimes it takes a while to find your tribe, to find people that you can share openly about what you're experiencing and what you have going on. And so it's nice to know that you're not alone. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I would say the more radically you change your beliefs, the harder it is to find that tribe.
100%. Yeah. But what I find is that the more I loved myself, the more my beliefs changed. So the less I needed others. The more I could fulfill myself. And like if I'm planning a trip, the most person I'm excited to go with is me, versus before it was like I felt like I needed a lot of people. And of course we are pack animals, but now I can just like go for a walk and I can get that connection I'm seeking in, a 5-minute conversation versus maybe a dysfunctional relationship. Yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. Let's see here. If you're cool with it, I'm going to just start channeling here. If there's any specific, beautiful, open heart, send me, you can even like telepathically send me any questions you're seeking. I will just start channeling, and then how they're making me feel is that I'm going to end up pausing and asking you if you have any questions that you would like me to answer for you. But this is where we're starting. What I'm being presented with is almost like I was going to say a T, but it's almost like a Y, like a fork in the road. And specifically, it's like, how would I describe this? It's not lost, but it's like, I'm ready for something new. I'm ready for, it's not lost. It's not like desperation, but it's more like I have energy and I would like to start something. like a new dimension of soul seeking. But where do I even begin? And then the next thing that I get is like, it's like two steps forward or one step forward, two steps back. So it's almost like, oh, okay, that would be really cool. And then you like almost think about what the future would be, and you're like, oh, that's just not for me. And then you kind of get pulled in another direction. It's like, oh, that's interesting. But then something, you see some sort of, you know, some way in which it's not going to work out or it's not going to be a fit for you. Whether that even be like the amount of time it's going to require, it could be a financial, you know, a financial piece that isn't quite in alignment. But I just see that you're just specifically the words they use is your vessel is ready for more remembering. And so let's see here. And they're also bringing me to connections, those relationships, and you know, that we get to develop in our lives, and that they're saying it's not that you necessarily don't have friends, but that you're seeking deeper connections with people. Just, you know, like chatting about the weather or work just isn't quite enough to fulfill you. You need more like, you know, existential type of relationships where you can ponder galactic beings or, you know, Lumeria, you know, even just ancient Egypt. So past lives, that kind of stuff. So let's see here. So let's start with, this is what they're saying too, is you already know that you are an evolved soul, that you already know, even through the interpretations of your dreams, that you came into this life with a lot of gifts. You may not necessarily know how to use them on command, but you definitely have experiences where they manifest for you, whether it be in the form of psychic experiences, whether it be through, like they were bringing up maybe angel numbers or synchronicities, that there are definitely, you have connections with your spirit team and with your higher self, which is really beautiful. So let's see, how can we connect all of these? So this is kind of how they're describing it, at least for the next chapter associated to soul work is, do you ever allow yourself to like just get on Google and just kind of type in things and see where it goes? Like to go kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I've been led like that for sure. I've been also like, there's been instances, well, I've had a number of STEs in my spiritually transformative experiences in my life. And
Okay.
some of them had involved what you're talking about right now is where I would know that I was supposed to look at something more, and I would look at it until this huge revelation would come, and it would be like, oh my God, here's some more information for me to tell people, and them to go, oh, you're a stupid wackadoodle, just shut up and go back in your cave.
Yeah, yeah. Would you mind sharing like one of those? And sometimes they're personal. Like sometimes I have things that happen that it's just for me. But if there's one that you feel, I think, you know, vulnerability is powerful and shared experience is powerful. Is there anyone that you would feel confident or comfortable sharing with us?
Well, the one that I was thinking about, I don't want to go into super specific detail,
Yeah, you
but
don't
it
have.
was basically about a person who everyone cries about all the time who actually faked their death and had reconstructive surgery and became another person.
Like in this life, like in this time or in the past? Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
because well, one of my thoughts was like, you know, if you're a known person and you want to retire, you don't
yeah,
want people seeing you at the grocery store going, "Oh, look at so and so, looks horrible.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
take a picture of them."
yeah,
So I would think that that would be like standard operating procedure to maybe do
yeah,
kind of like, "I died. What are you talking about? It's not me. I just look like that
yeah,
person."
yeah, 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 yeah. Or the energy, right? The soul signature. It's like when you meet somebody and you're like, oh, have we met before? And it's like, well, not in this lifetime. Maybe another one. And that's why my energy feels the same. That's beautiful. So it sounds like you get almost like clear cognizance, almost like clear knowing, like information just impressed on you.
I'm
Um,
visual, and I also heard a voice one time too.
okay. Okay.
The voice said to me, I got really mad and I screamed. I said, "This is what you want, isn't it?" And this littlest voice you ever heard
Yeah.
said, I only want for you what you want for yourself. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? But the cool part about that was that a lot of my questions about it got answered just by having like the TV or YouTube on, like in the next week or so. And two of the questions that were answered was like, when you're mad, it is almost impossible to like not be mad, even if some crazy, well, I don't think it's crazy, but even if some situation like extraordinary situation happened, I'm still going to be mad. I can't just turn it off. So they're kind, because I was really mad at myself because, you know, I heard that one guy's story. I think his name was Klein, where he started talking to the voice, and it was like his, you know, other half or whatever. And then they wrote a book and everything. And I'm like, well, I didn't get to write the book because I was mad and I yelled at you. But the other thing was that there's an actual mechanism in our throat that lets spirit talk, and we can hear it with our ears. And that's a thing.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I had one experience where I heard, actually, that's a fucking lie. Because just the other day I had the same experience, but right at the beginning of my awakening, I shared a video of this called Synchronicities, but it has to do with this painting, this drawing here that I did when I was 5, and my dog led it to me, and it was this magical moment where it was like I knew everything was connected. But in that moment, I heard my dog speak to me externally, not like my clairaudience, but she said, "I know," because it was like a holy fuck moment, and then she just said, "I love you." And that was quite literally in an external voice. It wasn't like the voice I hear when I'm channeling. So that's really wild. Well, the other thing too with anger, when you're in an anger state, it's almost like you're not in an expansive state, right? Like nothing can be healing, nothing, you're in a closed state. So, well, what they're saying for you though, is that will connect you. Do you have a YouTube, or do you have like a Facebook, like where you share certain things about your experience in this lifetime?
I had a Telegram channel where I was interpreting people's dreams, but I absolutely hated it. And Michael Sheridan actually told me I hated it. I was like, you're right. Why do I hate it? Because I never got any feedback. That's why I hated it.
Okay.
Like, I'm the type of person that wants a little feedback when I do a huge dream for you.
Oh, I got you. So from the person specifically, or from others?
Yeah, from the person or anybody else. They were just like, you know, I didn't even know if I was hitting or missing. And so I deleted it.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure I could do a YouTube channel or need to.
Yeah, that how they're describing it almost is as if like you've made all these deposits and with reference to your getting to remember who you are, just knowledge wise, like you put a lot of deposits in, and now it's time for you to take some withdrawals in the form of sharing with others. Now, what they will say, so I've made probably, I think, like 60 videos on here. I can almost count, there's probably 10 comments total. So one thing that you'll have to, I don't want to say heal, but reorganize, is you won't get a lot of feedback necessarily.
Yeah.
It'll have to be what you want to do and what you feel called to share.
It's okay if I don't get feedback. It's just when I'm actually doing a dream, I would just want to know if I'm right or if I missed the mark.
Perfect sense. 100%. Especially like if somebody did one of my dreams, I'm like, fucking A, dude. Like that's, to me, that's really cool. Especially, I mean, I can do my own dreams somewhat, but I'm just almost too close to them. So when somebody else does them, it's like they don't have the emotional attachment that I do to them. And so they're able to get a clearer answer for me that I didn't get myself.
Well, I also understand too, because dreams go deep quick.
Yeah, really.
And like, especially I've noticed a lot of younger people, they have to save face no matter what. They cannot just let it out that, oh yeah, maybe my mom was mean to me. No, she was the greatest person ever lived. It's like, okay, well, if you're never going to admit that maybe there's an issue here, then
yeah. The denial, right? Or like rationalization, because dreams, and they'll connect lifetimes. That's the crazy thing. Something you're experiencing, and this one can be connected to 10 other, and they say it to you, and it's like warmth in your heart. It's like the soul knows the truth. But I would just see somehow creating some sort of outlet for you to share what you have learned with others, and not because you're making it because you're like, okay, what would people want? It's more like, I've got this information that I need to share. I don't even know who it's going to be for, but it's something that it's almost like a volcano, something's bubbling up. And so I would just play around with it. You can even on YouTube create videos that are private that maybe you'll never list, but maybe you start recording some and you're like, yeah, I feel confident enough and comfortable and motivated and inspired enough to share this. Like, I mean, I love hearing about people's spiritual experiences, and not everybody has, like, it's so wild to me that some people just always had a relationship with God, and that some people always knew that God was there. I certainly didn't. There was just this magical moment that happened one day, and I was like, holy fuck, that's the soul of God. And so I think, how they're sharing it is that you've had some remarkable experiences that others can connect with. And it will also, you will serve as a channel to give them permission to start sharing what they've experienced.
Yes.
So, and that would help fulfill some, it would create an outlet for you spiritually, because you do, I would say that you do definitely have the gift of spiritual leadership that probably shows up in your dreams as well. And so this would give you an opportunity to cast a wider net, not to tell people how to live, but just to show people how you've lived and to show people what you've experienced. And then, even down to the vulnerability piece around, like, for me, there was a lot of fear initially. I was told that this stuff was like, taboo, that it wasn't real. I had a lot of fear in this lifetime associated to connecting with spirit. And so, just even sharing that, 99% of spirit's benevolent and they love us unconditionally. That would help others essentially, this is how they're saying, is that you can be an activator for others for their spiritual journey.
Yes. Well, that actually happened to me.
Oh, really?
It's
Okay.
a long story, but I watched a video about 9 years ago, and a woman was telling her awakening story. And right when the video stopped, the same experience happened to me. And that was the culmination when I heard that voice. It lasted for like 2 weeks. I was like, it was like funny because after like a couple of days of like being connected to source and being able to know anything. Well, when you're connected to source, you feel so good that you can figure out, you can ask any question, but you don't ask.
Yeah.
Because you feel so good. You don't feel compelled to ask. And I was like kicking myself so badly. But at the end of the 2 weeks was when I heard that voice. But about 2 days into it, finally, I looked up and I said, is this how it's always going to be for me now? Do I just get this for the rest of my life? And all of a sudden I got hit with this humble bomb. And I just, for like 3 days, I was in this spot, just looking down, just sitting in this chair, just humble, 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 humble. Because I couldn't be too like, oh, look at me, I'm so great. I'm posting on Facebook that I'm communing with God.
Yeah. Well, I remember there was a time where I felt so connected to Yeshua that I literally went door knocking during COVID. Fucking like a fucking church person, door knocking, telling people that they're loved. And it wasn't religious at all. It was just, I had so much love in my heart, my kundalini, like I was so open. I just wanted everyone to know and to experience this thing. And what finally brought me back to my body was I went to this woman's door, and the moment she opened it, she just slammed it in my face. And I was like, oh yeah, like this is where, I understand that not everybody is open or ready for this message either. When did that happen for you? What year?
That was mid-November 2015.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Well, I actually, I had QHHT done in like 2012, but I never, the practitioner I used wasn't very experienced, and she never got me hooked up to my higher self. So
QHHT or I don't know what that
Oh,
is.
that's Dolores Cannon's quantum healing hypnosis
Oh,
technique. I
yeah.
actually went and studied and got the certificate for it too. But I
Wow.
had to actually go and learn hypnosis
Wow.
to hypnotize people.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I had sorry, I
That's
forgot. I lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay. That happens to me too. I just asked, I was curious when you had
Yeah.
that experience. And you said November of
Well,
six.
okay, I remember now.
Okay, cool.
So like 3 years prior, I had this QHHT and I saw like no human lives. It was like all other, I can't even say they were aliens. It was like a garden, a bug, and something else. And I was like, and I never talked to my higher self to tell me why I was shown these things. So for like 3 years,
Yeah.
I sat around going, oh, this sucks. It was a bad experience actually, because I got that side of it, but then I didn't get the answers. And I really desperately wanted the answers. And when I had this experience, I asked for the answers.
And
And
what
I,
was it that you were them in a past life or something? Or
the
what was,
message that they were trying to convey during that QHHT was that there's tremendous value in just being. We're human beings. We're not human doings. And we live this life where you're your job and you're your bank account, you're your car and your house. And it's like, none of that shit matters compared to like you and what you really are inside. We're just playing a part and we have no clue what the rest of us is like, even most of us.
yeah, yeah, that's beautiful. I don't know if you know who Eckhart Tolle is, but he just talks about the dichotomy or the difference. He's like, when you're young, you have energy. How does it go? Essentially, he's like, we can sometimes the elderly can almost feel discarded, but they can teach us so much about the essence of being
Yes.
and just being.
I've worked in a care home, and my uncle just died last year, and I was visiting him in the care home every day and the nursing home. And it's horrible what we do to our elders. They should be part of making decisions about our world because they have the knowledge and the experience to really add quality information to our decisions. Instead, we'll just let AI do it.
And the patience and I don't want to say forgiveness, because not every person that's 80 years old is like this graceful and peaceful person, but a lot of them, it's like, why are we fighting? Why are they like the holding of a grudge? They can see that it's not really important in life. Yeah. Is there, I love talking. We can just chat. I just want to make sure if there's a specific question that you wanted me to channel on that I answer it for you. If not, I'd love to just continue chatting. That's entirely good with me.
I can continue to chat, but I am interested in like my living situation is temporary. I sold my house last year. I know I heard you say you sold a house a couple years ago. I
Yep,
sold
I
my
did.
house last year and it was really bad winter last year and I was walking up the driveway. I had such bad cabin fever. I was walking up and down the driveway with a foot of ice. I lived in northern Wisconsin at the time. And I'm like, I'm going to slip. I don't care, because I needed exercise and I needed to be outside.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I just heard this thought get pushed into my head. Sell your house, move away. And that was it. And I just acted on it. And I sold my house in a month and I was gone in like 2 months. And I was like, well, where the hell should I go? Where should I go? Where's the community? Where's the place that's most what is the optimal trajectory for my golden path?
Yeah.
Which would be doing healing work or being part of a healing center or being part of a tribe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, have you ever, the first thing that they're saying that you could do, and you could almost do this daily if you wanted, but it's like, I activate all invisible cords associated to the healing work that I will do here. I activate those immediately. I activate those. Now, whether that's going to be people that you're going to do the healing for, or people you're going to do the healing with, or mentors, etc. But I would start calling in that energy and activating those immediately. I would even start your day, and they said that I don't need to give you this, the wording of this, but I would literally put together some sort of affirmation that you speak daily to start your day, associated to, I am a healer. All those that I will heal are in alignment, and in my energy field currently. Again, whatever that looks like for you, but start to speak it and speak it. And you could even create some sort of 7 layered affirmation, in the sense of I know, I see, I speak, I love, I do, I am. Just essentially connecting each one of the primary energy chakras with that activation. How they're describing it, I'm not getting a specific place. Are you able to travel at all? Like, are
Yeah.
you able to? Yeah. Okay.
I just came back from California. I just drove across the country and back.
Okay, cool. So it shows you almost like, okay, how would I describe this? If you ever look at like how would I show this? By the way, your guides, they're a little bit similar to mine, in the sense that I have to tell them to slow down sometimes, because the amount of information, it's almost like they're excited as well. I'm like, holy fuck, dude, you got to give me one train of thought, because you're giving me so many. Like, it's hard for me to even take it in.
I'm originally from Chicago, and that's how we talk. We're very fast and get to the point.
Dude, well, it's like they're so excited. It's like they're giving me 20 thoughts, and I'm like, I can't speak. Like, they might be able to send 20 thoughts at a time, but in a human body, we're not capable of that I'm aware of yet.
Prioritize people.
Yeah, exactly. So how it is it's like, if you were to imagine the US from a like being able to see it, and they almost put together flight patterns. So they're like almost golden arches that connect all these cities. They're showing you like going out and essentially sampling some different cities. Like, you just went to California. Because what they said is, one of these times, and they even show you in a car, like just going on a really long road trip. It's kind of like when I sold my house, I went all over the US. Well, I didn't go all the way to the East Coast, but I went through like 30 of the states, and I ended up an hour north from where I sold my house. And this is where I feel good. I am looking for land here. I too want to open up a healing center. If I had it, I'd love for you to come to it. It's just not quite in my reality yet. And so they want you to go out and sample different places, because they said when you arrive at the place that you will land, you will know immediately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember I told you there was like a way I get information that's not really, it's like, I can explain it like this.
Okay.
Michael Sheridan's dream interpretation book is like a supernatural book to me, because
100%.
I'll open it up and I'll swear to God that there is an interpretation that was never in there before. And I'm like, what are you doing? And it's the same. I forget the name, but it was someone came up with a new name, and they said, you're just traveling and you don't have a destination yet. You just get on the road and you just start going. And when you get there, you'll know.
Beautiful. That's literally how I get it. And you know what's so interesting? My guides, my psychic ability works similarly. Like, and it's almost to the point that if I were to tell somebody else, that's like, they will never think it's as cool as it is when I'm experiencing it. Because it's like, holy fuck. Mine happens a lot with drawing. One day I'll just go, I just want to draw something. And then the next day I'll see it on a piece of artwork, what I drew the day previously, or I'll see it in a TV show. It's just bizarre the way that my guides communicate with me. That's beautiful. That's just, you're highly psychic, your higher self, and you have a strong connection, which is really beautiful.
And don't be jealous. Don't think me better, because I've had to crawl through glass and lava to get to this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel better about being me than I've ever had before. And I can see where like my project was front loaded, and now it's really paying off, and I'm coming into my own, and it makes all the pain and suffering so worth it. And I can see where from the spiritual world that that's how it's designed for us to heal, like Michael Sheridan talks about, to heal these aspects of us that we have on the other side.
Yeah. Amen to that. Because I don't know if I would. Have you ever heard of a walk-in? Do you know what that is? Okay. I used to think that I was a walk-in. I don't know if I am, but I just don't have many memories of my childhood. But I would say mine was front-loaded as well. And who knows? I haven't predicted the future. I don't know what that holds. I'm sure there will be other trials and tribulations, but I have different skills today to experience that.
Well, I just want to say too that I'm very grateful that it was what it was, because it could have been so much worse too. There could have been so many more worse things. But I think God really knows what we're capable of handling. Yeah. And God knows who can stay here and who has to go. And I think that's part of the dying young thing. Because if you're in this world too long, it might wear on you to the point where you're like, give up or become something you didn't want to become.
Or like, I remember when I first remembered that reincarnation was a thing. And that was during my awakening in 2020. And I was watching this episode, again, just guided to an Oprah Winfrey episode. Dr. Brian Weiss, I don't know if you know who he is, Many Lives, Many Masters. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I read his book.
Okay, cool. He talks about the experience that he had with his departed son, who was like 28 days old. And his son was able to describe exactly the heart condition that he had. His heart was on the outside of his body. And then he went in to describe exactly why he died. And it was, I can't remember it explicitly, but it had to do with something to the fact of that was his gift to his parents so that they would know what that unconditional love felt like. Mm-hmm. So it's like the baby made the sacrifice so that they could experience a level of love in their lifetime that they would have never experienced. We have no idea why these bad things happen, why babies get cancer, or again, what have you, but God does. And there's always a reason. Yeah. Something else that you said that I really love, and we'll wrap up here soon. Are you okay on time? Can we go a little bit?
I'm good. I'm sorry. I'm not in my, I can't look at myself. I got to be able to turn myself off.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Well, is that you said, and don't be jealous, because that's such, or envy, right? Envy is I want what you have. Jealousy is more like I'm afraid that the relationship we have is altering because of something else. So envy associated to gifts, because we are all gifted in our own unique ways, every single one. And we're all, even though we're all connected, we are on an individual quest as well. Did you have to come to terms with acceptance and loving yourself for where you're at? Did you used to compare yourself to others spiritually?
Well, I got when they were filling out the forms for me to come here, they clicked the tab that said that nobody's gonna want you. So I got that package, and that's actually was the main information I got from Michael when I had a session with him. It was like his guys or my guys were like, you're not wanted, just deal with it. Like, it's just the case. And that's what I found. But it's not necessarily me. It's just the way that I want to be, or the energy that I want to hold. Not a lot, 97% of people in this world don't want anything to do with that for whatever reason. And I'm just like, hey, well, I'm all about it. So I can't just change my energy to you to fit in, because I know you'll just leave me anyway, or not want me around after a year or so anyway. So,
wow. So that's part of
me. I stuck to my guns, and it's paid off. It's been paying off, because I knew that I was right, but I've had to have so many people in my life try to make me feel like I was wrong.
Yeah. Oh, the level of deceit that I've experienced, and it wasn't deceit in the traditional sense, it was deceit of my own heart. The way that I misread a situation, the way that I gave and I loved authentically, and these people were using me, that I didn't know they were using me for many, many years.
I never knew that there was people that we live with in this world that just their number one thing they want to do is destroy other people. They get off on it. It's their biggest joy and their hugest accomplishment. And I was like, that type of thought process never even came to me
I
until
know.
I found that out. I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. My sister, an older sister in high school, it came to be unveiled that she had been stealing money from my parents and then also for me and clothing. And when I confronted her about it, she was like, "Well, no, that was blah 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 from the school bus, and then that was blah 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 from school." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Like in my mind, I couldn't fathom that someone would actually steal from me and then actually lie about it. And it wasn't until like a decade later, I was like, that bitch was lying. I couldn't even when again when I confronted her and she had these very viable reasons as or excuses, I was like, oh, okay, believed it wholeheartedly. But I know that she played a role. I know that she was contracted and, to play a certain role in my life. And I'm grateful for her. I am so thankful at this point in my life. Every one of my villains I've ever had, I have gratitude for. That meaning that I've healed from the relationship and I can, and maybe there's still trauma, programming that I am healing, but I have gratitude and I have detachment from the actual experience to be grateful for it.
I actually got to tell my ex-wife Jenny last week the same thing, that I'm so grateful that I'm
Mhm.
not. If I would have stayed in that situation, I
Yeah.
would be a person I wouldn't even be able to want to be in the same room with today,
Yep. Yep.
because that would have been the person I would have had to become to
Yeah.
stay in that situation.
100%. Isn't that beautiful that when you can get to that point? Um, and like I'm in the process of writing a book. My guides tell me books, like plural, but one of them is like rules of life. That if everybody could not only know these but believe these, that life would be fun. And one of them is the biggest villains in your life will be the ones that you have the most gratitude for and are your greatest teachers with time and healing.
Well, that's in the Dolores Cannon books too, as
Oh, is it?
that
Okay.
we incarnate on purpose. Like they could be your soul, and they're your worst enemy in this life. You're like, how could they be in my soul group? Because they
Yeah.
love you so much that they would have a stinky life in order for you to learn the lesson that they're
Dude,
tired of you
isn't
not
that
learning.
wild? Isn't that wild? Like when I think of my narcissistic mother, um, the the sacrifice that she makes in this lifetime, because every day I think is just hell for her. Every day is just, I mean, narcissists are so insecure. And so every day, every decision she makes is one of, you know, low self-esteem.
And that helps heal the relationship, because the tremendous amount of love to come and be miserable like that just
Right.
so that I could have that. I know there's probably other layers of reasons for them too, but
100%. Yep. Yep.
I got such a value and a benefit out of having a mom who didn't want me. Actually, one of my dreams that I had was a woman was in a dark room pinching a baby till it cried, and that was my dream, showing my initial sensitizing event to some stuff that needed to be healed, where it came from. I was like not even 1 years old, and my mom was pinching me in the bedroom because she was hungover and she wanted my grandma to just come and take me away so she could go to sleep. And I confronted her with it, and she almost remembered, but she's like, "Oh no, no,
Yeah.
that couldn't have been the case." But she was 19 years old. It's not. I'm not against her, or whatever. She was 19 years old, and her friends were super important, and it was the 70s, and drinking and smoking was the most important thing.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. And it literally brought you to this very moment, which is so
Yes,
beautiful, you
yes,
know?
and that's the gratitude that I have today, is that if that, because like my stepdad, he was totally spoiled, and he was just the biggest jerk, and it's like I'm glad I had that experience as opposed to being spoiled as a child, because the same thing. I wouldn't want to be in the room with myself if I
Yeah.
was that person.
Amen to that. One, something that I have to remind myself is that I would be you if I were you. Every decision, like, so often people judge, even myself included. I'm getting so much better at it though, and so much more aware. But is like, to judge somebody for a decision that they're making or not making, you would make the exact same decision if you were them. If you lived their life, that you would be them. Well, I guess some final thoughts here is, what would you say to somebody who is, I guess, at the beginning of their remembering, at the beginning of their journey, connecting spiritually? What would be or remembering that they are a spirit, what would you say to those folks?
Well, I'm going to tell you in a minute or
Okay.
a couple seconds, but
Cool.
it goes back to how to know yourself more. I did all these little exercises on how to know myself more. And one of them was to find out like what the number one song was on the day you were born, and what the number one TV show, what the number one movie,
Yeah.
and is there any information? Is there any clues?
Yeah.
And the number one song on the day I was born, which answers your question, is "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet."
Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Wow.
You ain't been around. I don't consider myself well, when I'm not awakened to even like know anything or know, because if you just believe in a bunch of lies, I mean, what do you really believe in?
Yeah. Well, and like making them discerning for yourself what truth is for you.
Yeah. Well, that's to come to find out is at different levels too, at different times in your life. It was true for me then, but I outgrew it. And now I have a way better truth that's helping me tremendously.
So let's see here. What other question would I like to end with you on? Well, I just have gratitude for you coming on and sharing your energy. I love anecdotal stories. I live for them. I am so thankful. That's one of my superpowers. I like to hear people's story. I live for them.
I have gratitude for you too. I love exuberance. I love playfulness. Well, one of my teachers says that whatever you're doing is going to work up to 31% better if you have a playful attitude and a fun-loving, good time. Because there's a meme going around. It could take you 400 repetitions to learn a skill. Mm-hmm. It might only take you 10 to 20 if you're in a playful mood and you're playing. And it brings back those states, those ego states from when we were a child, that like a lot of us had to put away to go have the job that we hated.
Fuck, dude. Okay, so just the other day, and I've told this story a couple times, so maybe you've already heard it, but somebody watching this later, it will be their first time. The other day, I'm on my way. So I have a business, but I also wait tables in the evenings. So I'm on my way to my evening waiting tables jobs, and I'm behind a bus. And off pops these two little kids, and they've got their backpacks on, and then they've got these big ass fucking lunch boxes, this like square plastic ones. And I'm like, those are their briefcases. Like they just went to school for 8 hours a day. Now they're getting off. It's like we're literally training them to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, how to carry a briefcase already, when it's like, fuck, dude, that is programming at its finest. You know what I mean? And it starts so young. Yeah.
Young and deep.
Yeah, for real. So, well, cool. Let's see here. I just want to say thank you, dude. I would love to stay in contact with you, as things are organically come up. Maybe we would have another session where we meet, and it's like titled Cool Connections with Spirit, and we just share like different experiences that we've had, the bunny trails that we're taken on. I think that's really cool. I mean, I just literally I just feel activated even in my own DNA when I'm hearing that from others. So
yeah, one of the things I've found is that these STEs, which is very close to STDs, but it's they're almost as infectious as them, because when you start talking about them, all of a sudden someone's unconscious goes, hey, now he knows this is a possibility. Let's
Yeah.
give it to him.
No, for real. I mean, fuck, dude. Every single thing, I mean, this is what I share with folks too. Like, spirit's always trying to connect with you, but if you're not consciously aware or ready for it, they're just going to keep trying and trying and trying. But to your point, there's going to come that time where you say, holy fuck, I see it. I see it today. I went through a phase when I quit my job, and there's something called liminal space. And it's kind of like, I describe it as the hallway. It's like one door's closed, but another one hasn't quite opened. And I spent days literally looking at water spills on the ground. Like, I would spill water and I would sit and I would stare at it until it would turn into like a battle scene or ships on the water. I'm talking a splash of water that would literally start moving. I wasn't high. I was not on any fucking psychedelic, nothing. It was just my consciousness being able to see something that always was there, but I wasn't able to see before. But it took time. Sometimes I would stare at things for 10 minutes, which to the mind, that's like a waste of time, right? The ego's like, let's go do something else. This is a waste of time. Yeah, that's just beautiful.
One of the things that's reminded me of is that the language of dreams is the language of the unconscious. And when you're having those daydreams or imaginations, it could very well be your unconscious talking to you just like a dream. And you could interpret it as such.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, The Four Agreements. It's one of my favorites. Okay.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yes, exactly. Dude, that started my awakening. When I find like being impeccable with your word, I was working for this cult and these really just shitty fucking people, you know what, good people, shitty organization. And I just remember challenging them. But at any rate, he talks about in the first chapter that we dream 24 hours a day. We dream 24 hours a day, yet there's these limitations based off of the frontal lobe, you know, like that you can't fly and you can't do this and you can't do that. And it says fucking who, you know? Yeah.
Smarter people than me say that the dream world is the real world and this is the dream world.
Dude. Fucking think about that, right?
Which is kind of cool because like going along the lines of the new earth and everything, you could see how this dream could just change scenes into something different. And please, sometime soon.
I know. Absolutely. It's like kind of like, you know, something that I've noticed with timelines, for example, is like sometimes people just leave your life. Like they move or whatever. And it's like, thank God. But it's like, you know, some people, like one thought I used to think was like, well, if we're going to ascend and some people aren't ascending, like, where are they going to go? Like, will I see them? Will they be like a faded color? And it's like, no, they just kind of leave.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And they're probably thinking the same thing, which is totally cool. You know what I mean? Like that's totally.
Our contract was done, null and void.
Exactly. I just picked up, I have literally read like a chapter of it, but it's called Sacred Contracts. And I can't remember the lady that wrote it, but it's kind of cool. But why I stopped reading it is it's at a point where it's like, get a journal. So it's at a point where I've got to put work into it. It's not just reading anymore, but yeah. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much. Indiana. Well, if you ever make your way up to Washington, you let me know. I mean, I live out of my RV, so it wouldn't be much space for you here, but we could go like on an adventure or something. I'm always down for that, you know?
Well, you never know. You might get that land too.
Yeah. Who knows where I'll be in 6 months? Who knows where you're like, that's the thing. We don't know.
Yeah. I got used to sleeping out of my truck, so
is that right? Okay.
Well, cool. It's okay if you just sleep in there at night, you know, and then you have stuff to do all day in the shower and food.
Dude, I actually had a dream, and who knows if I'll do this, but when I was having my awakening, I was like, I could walk across the US with nothing. And I knew that every meal that I needed would be provided for, every pair of shoes, every clothing, whatever, with $0, I would be able to do that. And that's how God works. Mm-hmm. Whatever you need will be provided for you in that moment. And the person won't even realize that they're a servant of God. They'll just see you and say, do you need a jacket? They may not even be spiritually connected, you know, in the sense that, you know, Yeah.
That's how it works in a dream. That's all I wanted to point out.
Yeah. Exactly. And we'll recreate our dream here too, which is really cool. So,
Mhm.
well, thank you so much. I will definitely
Thank
be in
you.
touch, and we'll figure out maybe a time where we just do like, what do you call them? STEs.
Spiritually transformative
Dude,
experiences.
okay, let's plan on that. Like yeah, I'll be in touch for sure.
Yeah, I could be. We can interview each other about ours or something.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I would love that. That would be amazing. Cool. Well, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
You too, Tiffany.
Okay, bye.
Bye.